Hey guys, it's Master Guil. Um, this is something that I've never really done before. Um, this is pretty much like a bit of a tribute video that I wanted to make in dedication to my late dog, Max. I don't know if anyone has noticed or maybe thought about what happened to like Max, well, my dog and his moments. Well, I don't know if, I think I did mention it in a video or so back a while back, maybe about a year or so ago, that my dog Max is no longer with us, and this day, well, the day that I'm recording this, I don't know when this is gonna be uploaded. Maybe possibly later today or maybe a little bit later down the road. But today, July 16th, 2018, marks the 2-year anniversary of my dog passing away. So I'm just gonna wanted to share with you guys a little bit, just a bit of pictures, and we talk about my dog for a while. Just telling you guys how much he really impacted my life ever since that ever since I was like in the prime of my elementary school, going to middle and high school, all these years. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the tribute video. Maximilian. Now, that full name didn't come into effect until my father started, well, not my father, my my mother first, and then my father soon picked up after with that name, well, the full name. And I usually don't call him that by his full name. It'll just be on rare occasions. We just normally call him Max. Um, how he came about that name is how hyper and absurdly energetic that he was. Max Max was a boxer, Bruno. You know, he was like just a natural brown dog with just like tiger stripes, and he has that one oddly white color paw. All the rest of his paws are just black. His right forepaw is just the only white one there. He he looked like first my first boxer, Tyson, which I sadly don't have much vids or pictures of him, so I can't really do a tribute video of that. And it's been a very long time since I had to say goodbye to Tyson. We'll get to that in the later part. What made Max unique from Tyson is that I would say I would say Max was like an inside and outside dog. He just likes to be around people, our family per se. And he knows where the bad ones are. He knows what the good ones are, and I would deem him as a benevolent troublemaker. Like some things he would do just to get attention. Like for example, like he would randomly run into things just to get a reaction from us. That's just the sort of person that Max is. Like somehow he adapted to our personalities combined by us. I mean, my mother and father and I. He adapted to our personality, and sometimes he would really deem himself. He would think of himself as a human being. It's one of those instances that that you would think that your pet is not just your pet. It's more, more like your best friend. You know, because your pet is part of your family. It's more than just a pet. Your best friend, your companion. That whenever anything happens, you could just like pet, hold, play with, and whatever was happening with you during your day, all your worries and sorrows were just gone with a snap of a finger. And I guess that's where Hakuna Matata comes in. When we first got Max as a pup, he he didn't look that much different than all the other puppies that we have seen. But we had chosen him is because he just looked like our old dog. And we leave for a short time to get stuff together. We come back. Next thing you know, the owner is telling us that Max will not stop crying. Like, while we were gone, Max was actually sitting down in front of the TV, watching TV, waiting for us to come back. And the owner tells us that he will not stop barking, will not stop hollering, will not stop crying or anything. And as soon as we took it, he immediately just falls asleep. Until we got to our home, and oh my God, he ran up and down the hallway so many times for a half hour straight until he collapsed in the hallway, just knocked out. He was just oh man, you should have heard how loud he was snoring, because he was only a puppy and he was snoring that loud. Around the time that our first dog had passed away, Tyson. Tyson was only 7 years old when he passed away. I do believe that, well, we believe that he died due to a heart attack. He was 7 years old at the time, and it had just passed his birthday. I was just got done visiting my relative's house, who stayed around the block from where I used to stay. I come to open up my gate to walk in the house through the side door. My father comes and greets me. Well, I won't necessarily say greet. He comes out the gate with a sad look on his face, and he tells me that Tyson passed away in our backyard, behind a little clubhouse that he had built for me when I was 9 years old, 8 to 9 years old, just starting second grade at around the time. And Tyson was just laying there behind the clubhouse, where you climb the part where you climb up the ladder up into the clubhouse. He was just laying right there, motionless. And in the morning, we came out there, buried the grave, we prayed, said our piece, and we buried him in that same spot. I bet we go to my old house. That grave will probably maybe still be there if it not hasn't been decimated by other people, which I don't doubt that. But I know you're not supposed to bury your pets, but you have to do something. So it was after a couple months later, probably 3 or 4 months later, the house was just completely quiet for a while. And this was around going into December that we decided to get another dog. But we all know that with each pet's passing, they can't replace the other. That's a well-known fact right there. As Max was growing up, I tried to do as much as I could with him. Like, I remember a couple times before we even went to bed, I started just reading him stories, like simple, silly bedtime stories. Like, I would just pick a random comic book from the bottom of my shelf and just read it to him, and he didn't run away or do anything. He just like hopped on my bed and just fell out, and I started reading to him, and then eventually I started to fall asleep. And I think my mother has a couple pictures of us sleeping somewhere when I was little, when I was younger anyway. This was around the time when I was in 4th grade, going into 5th. And I too have troubles in school, not academic problems, more like bully problems. And yes, you know, I have my share of constantly being bullied and have to fight and stand up for myself. Going through a lot of broken glasses, a lot of broken glasses. And every time I come home, Max will just be there. We reading stories, play tug of war in the house where we're not supposed to, take him outside, go for walks. It's just those things that helps me take my mind off stuff. Even though sometimes I didn't want to, but as I got older, I got used to it. As it was part of my responsibility to take care of him, as he took care of me. It even transitions to when we actually started moving around in April, back 6 years ago. We got a house here. Max didn't like the change at first, as he wanted to pee on everything. And that I found that as normal, so he can, like, you know, mark his territory and all that. But as the years went on, Max started to have a couple of problems of his own. He was coming down with like arthritis and all that, and some occasional faints. And the most devastating one that I found was his seizures. The seizures didn't start until the first time that we had left Max for a while at our old place to watch, as we were still getting our stuff out, but we was going to come back the next day and continue getting our stuff out. and we wanted Max to, be the guard dog for a while. Um, when I went there by myself to just check on him, to see how he was doing, play with him for a little while. That's when I first saw the seizure happen. At first, I thought that he randomly got his head stuck on a deck through one of the little gapes in the deck, like he possibly was chasing something, or he was sniffing or something, and he randomly got his head stuck there. And I just saw his body flailing like crazy. As I said, I first thought he got his head stuck. But then it happened again the same day, but only much later. And we confirmed that it was a seizure that he had. This was around when he was, I want to say, 5 or 6. But it didn't occur as much as it did on the later years. The later years is when we fully got accustomed to our house, the house that I'm in right now. That's when the seizures start getting a tad worse. Like, he was also starting to lose his teeth at the same time. I don't know how we would have found some teeth lying around if that was the case, but most of his teeth was missing. And so because of that, we had to like start pouring water and stuff in his food so he can chew much more. Sadly, we had to stop buying a specific brand for him because the water wouldn't go well with the food, so we had to choose a different food for us, for senior dogs. But sadly, the ones that we had to give him would give him the runs. They were not pretty sights. Ugh. Despite the medical problems, Max tried so hard to continue being the dog that we see him as. And he knew this, he could sense this, and when family and friends are over, this stuff doesn't even bother him. It doesn't hold him back, it doesn't do anything. This is around when he was like going 8, almost going on 9. He was still that same silly dog that we loved and grew up with. Me, throughout my elementary, even through my graduation, he was there. He could sense how proud I was when I finally graduated high school. And for the entire day, he would not leave me alone. He wouldn't leave me alone for that whole entire day. And it was amazing for him to like sense that I had a good accomplishment in my life. And it was beautiful. His seizures got a lot worse, and he started having them frequently. He started becoming slower with age. Of course, he was like 84 in dog years. His seizure, the worst part was his seizures were to happen overnight, like around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. It just happened at random. And it was so nerve-wracking that my mother and father could not get any sleep. And they had to work at like 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, etc. So they had to get up very early in the morning just to get ready for work. And they couldn't hardly get a wink of sleep because every time they were here, like his collar shaking, we would automatically think that, oh Lord, he's having another seizure. And whenever he does have a seizure, he like gets temporary amnesia. Like his brain shuts off for a minute. And we have to give like maybe 3 hours up to 2 to 3 days for him to fully recover back to being his normal max self. Like after he has a seizure, he'll go around running into walls, not on purpose as he used to, just to get attention, but it doesn't hurt him when he does do it on purpose. But this one, he just off balance, running into walls. Like he would go and run into walls, being off balance, off kilter, not listening to commands. Well, he will listen to commands, but his brain, as it was, will not acknowledge it, and he'll do something else. Like he, at one time, what scared my mother is that he wandered into my bathroom and started clawing at the wall. That was freaky. And so hopefully we had him go outside, and our neighbor's dog, get this, our neighbor's dog had a different reaction to Max, as he normally doesn't. He usually, our neighbor's dog and our dog is from like our neighbor's dog and our dog got along really well, and they're always run back and forth across the gates, just playing and barking with each other. We didn't think much of it for a while, until after Max had the seizure. We went outside, and the neighbor's dog just happened to be there in the morning. The neighbor's dog had a completely different reaction. The neighbor's dog took one look at Max, sniffed him a bit, and ran away with a weird look on his face. Even the dog could sense that something was wrong with Max. The worst part that happened was Max having 4 different seizures. Well, not different seizures, but 4 seizures in one day. And what I heard about this was on Christmas. It happened on Christmas Day. It started in the morning, and it happened every 3 to 4 hours. The seizure happened. And this is when he turned 10 years old. And after he had those 4 seizures, it looked like he couldn't move for even the whole day. He even lost his ability to bark. And this happened for 2 weeks straight. When he went back to normal, he started running again. He started barking again. It looked like he made a complete comeback, a good recovery. And it was also the fact that he even had a tumor on his arm, which looked like it kept getting bigger as time progressed. on this day 2 years ago, I had just finished walking Max, but something was really wrong from the walk. I usually try to walk him further so I can give him some exercise, and to also help his nails be cut a little bit, because he has sharp nails. Oof, don't get me started on that. I usually walk him down the street to the gas station, but I already noticed that, one, he was bleeding a lot on one of his feet, and two, every fourth to fifth step that we took, he kept falling out, and we didn't walk that far. I couldn't even get to the corner without him kept falling out, and he was also bleeding around the time too. So I said I couldn't do it. It wouldn't be right to just keep dragging him like that, and he loves going for walks. That's what sucked about it. So I ended up turning around, heading back into my house, grabbing a towel, and trying to clean him up again. And we walked up the stairs. Max collapsed on the stairs. And he also came across this cough that he had. We thought he got sick, but no, it was a cough that came out of nowhere, and it lasted for 3 weeks. And we also heard a strange noise that came out of nowhere in the middle of the night at our house. Max didn't move. He was still laying down in their bedroom. He didn't walk with us to go check out the noise or anything. And that's one of the things that my father said was a sure sign that it was almost time, but we didn't want to chance it yet, until we saw that Max had collapsed on the stairs, almost completely out of breath, and he would not move. And it was at that point where it was time to let him go. We arrived at the vet around 10 or 11 or so in the morning. I do believe it was early afternoon. That it was time to pull the plug. So we went into the room. We said our goodbyes. We prayed. The vet gave Max the drug they used to put dogs to sleep first. He slowly went off to sleep, and then they gave him the second drug that killed him. And just like that, Max was gone. And how he looked when he passed on, I broke down. I'm still picturing his face right now, and every time I see it, I just break down. And throughout all that time, I don't know why I was thinking this. I felt like, was this right? Was it right for us to just do that? Like, I felt like it shouldn't be right that it looked like that we decide if he lives or dies. And it just felt like we just continued to instant dog to death. Like, I just killed our dog. I was feeling that for a while. And I was also thinking that maybe he wanted us to do it, to put him out of the pain, to put him out of the misery. And I want to think that way, but it's just that one thought in the back of my mind. Do we have? We don't have the right to kill one of God's creatures. But he's no longer in pain. He's at peace. I want to say we did the right thing, but God, that thought is always there. But I still see him. Whenever I go to bed, he sometimes visits, and I see him. And along with my old dog, and with Max. Oh, Tyson and Max. I hope, God forbid, this day, or when my time comes, I want to see them again. I will see them again.